Let's move on to the second question, which is more about the challenge. We're curious to know what challenges have you encountered in GIS and particularly early in your career? And from your perspective, how can organizations better support women entering or advancing in the field within your sector? Let's start with Phyllis on this one.
Yeah, of course. I think I joined Esri last year, August, so I've been with this company for almost a year now. I've been thinking about these questions and trying to prepare for this panel. It was really hard for me to think up a real challenge I've encountered since Esri is a really supportive work culture and we have pretty good work-life balance as well. Better support women entering or advancing the field within my sector. I will talk about my experience and actually for part of my team, they're remote. Some of our engineers are in Europe and some are on the East Coast. But half of my team is here in the Redlands headquarter office. I am actually the only woman and also the youngest on this part of my team. So that said, even though with lack of representation on my team, I would say I've been very fortunate because I genuinely haven't felt being treated differently. And I would say, yeah, like I said before, the team culture is very supportive, and I felt that my voice is heard and valued on this team. I would say the way I think one of the success, leading to the success, one of the things my team has done for me, I think more organizations or leaders could adopt is to have this incredible onboarding plan. My team, the 3D layer team, created a 30, 60, and 90 days onboarding plan with very specific goals for me to achieve. For each goal, they assigned a co-owner of the goal. So there was another senior product engineer or developer that owned the goal with me. So I had so many mentors I could go and ask specific questions. So I think that was one thing they did such a great job to support me and help me on board. So I think for me, having this supportive environment made a really huge difference. But for organizations, I think being able to scale this kind of support intentionally would really help more women enter and grow in the field. And besides that, I think even though for my team it's a very male-dominated working environment, I do have a lot of female coworkers on the other team. So at Esri for ArcGIS Pro, each team, like each tool you see on ArcGIS Pro is probably one team here at Esri. So for ArcGIS Pro, we have over 80 teams just to work on this one singular desktop software. During my time here, I was able to make a lot of friends, female and other female engineers on the other team. And we quickly bonded and became really good friends in real life. Some of them are actually here in this call here to support me. So feel very fortunate and grateful for my experience here so far at Esri.
Thank you so much, Phyllis, for sharing that. And next, let's hear from Tyler.
Sure. Yeah, I also had a super positive, supportive time at Esri. So yeah, it's always nice to hear that that's still other people's experience too. I think a lot of my experience has been framed through the lens of, on one hand, being in the environmental space, which is pretty overwhelmingly feminine in many cases. Like my grad school was, I think, majority women. Most of my undergrad classes in environmental studies were a lot of women. It didn't feel like a problem or even really a thought to be a woman in the environmental space, whereas I feel like the more technical I get with data and geospatial science, the more male I find that it is. And so to be working in both these fields simultaneously, I think it's always been like, okay, well, which one is it then? You know, am I going to face these challenges or am I going to be in a place where I don't have to worry about this as much? To be honest, a bit surprised when I got into the workforce and actually really did struggle with gender dynamics in a variety of cases. Namely in that I thought if I was going to face issues related to being a woman in the workforce, that it would be, you know, overt harassment, rude comments, like things in my day-to-day that I would deal with, and it ended up being more exclusion. And instead of sort of overt issues, it was more the things that I was not aware of until somebody slipped up. Oh, right, you didn't know about that because you weren't there, you know? And it's like if somebody, and then it sort of made me think, oh, like how many things are happening where I'm being excluded or I'm not having opportunities because of outdated gender norms, and I'm not even aware that all these things are going on under the surface, which is a bit frightening, especially when you're like one of your first jobs coming out of school. and you're just trying to get your footing. So yeah, I think that that's difficult to deal with, but I feel lucky that I have had a lot of, supportive work environments and supportive people around me, and I'm trying to do a better job at advocating for myself and trying to find positive mentors. And it's not on me to make myself be included, but I think there's things I can do to promote a culture where I'm included, I guess. Yeah, I think having really great mentors, I've been lucky to have, professors and bosses and lots of wonderful people who I still stay in touch with over many years. And I also feel really strongly about like mentoring other people who, especially our students or at the early career stage. If anybody in this call, wants to chat more beyond this, I feel like definitely reach out on LinkedIn. I used to not reach out, and I thought, like getting a mentor is a really complicated, difficult thing to do. Ultimately, it can be as easy as sending a message on LinkedIn and just saying like, hey, your work, your research, whatever is interesting to me. Do you have time? And sometimes the answer is going to be no, that person is swamped or not available. But a lot of times they'd be happy to chat, especially in the geospatial space. I think people are so willing to build community, and I've been really, really grateful for that. And I think it sort of helps to unpack a lot of these more negative layers.
Thank you for sharing that, Tyler. I totally agree. And lastly, let's hear from Lori.
So echoing some of Phyllis's and Tyler's comments. So a little background on me. I came to geospatial a little later in the game, and my undergrad was actually as a business major in management information systems. And I worked in federal government consulting for a number of years before I decided it was not for me and went back and got my master's and then my PhD in Earth Systems Science. With that, I've kind of seen both what it's like in the business world and seeing what it's like in academia. And there definitely have been and still are some exclusionary practices that are out there. And if you just know in advance that it's likely going to happen to you at some point, and it's not you or your fault that it's occurring, just please bear that in mind. And what has gotten me through those kind of difficult periods has actually been a lot of mentors, not just one. So I've had mentors that I have worked with in academia, some that have been in the business world, and they come from a whole host of places. And at different points in my journey through my career have influenced me significantly and have helped me out with any kind of things like that. So I know there's a lot placed on finding a mentor, but please keep in mind it's not just one. It's usually a group, it's a team effort. And different mentors will help you with different facets of your career along the way, which is really important. It's not just a single person. That is something that I think we're looking to grow more at George Mason. Our department is still majority male, but we are starting to see, with each passing year, more women coming in and being represented. And with that, in a reverse kind of gender stereotyping here, most of the female scientists that I've met have been far more willing to mentor and work with others, kind of pull other women up with them. Not that the men haven't done that, they have. I've definitely had male mentors along, again, my career pathway, and I have them now at work that do impact me significantly. But I find personally, I feel a little more comfortable if I'm able to speak with another woman, one of whom is on this call, that, if I've got questions about how, a class is going and what her ideas are, I would not hesitate to ask her and stuff. So that's been a big thing. And then age-wise, again, I'm a little bit older. I have grown children now, but that was another kind of challenge that I faced in my career is how do you continue having a career and be a parent or be a caregiver for your parent? These are all things that have come up along my career, and there have been struggles. And again, it's been a number of other people that have mentored me through them parenting and having a career that have really made a huge difference and an impact on me and how I've been able to do my work.
Thank you for sharing that, Lori. With everyone's sharing, I think this is one of the reasons exactly why we want to host this webinar, because we do want to create a space for these stories and to make these connections so that women in this field can be supported and connected with each other. That's great to learn about your work and some challenges and how you navigated them.